Hi, ladies.
Hello,
Hi.
How are you?
we're great. Thanks, Mirna.
How are
Hi.
you really, actually? That's a new question I've been advised to ask people. Not just how are you really?
Um, Very happy today because our museum, MMC Korea, has been closed due to the COVID-19. But then from today, we are partially opening the space.
Congratulations. So how long had you been closed?
Since May, so it's been around 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I opened my show end of May, and then
Uh-huh.
it just lasted for a week. And
Wow.
then it closed. So we were very disappointed. But then finally, like we're opening today, so at least we can show the exhibition one more month to the audiences.
Excellent, excellent. Congratulations. Before we talk about the opening of the museum and the shows that you have on, I just wanted to introduce the audience to both of you. So Juwon, you are based in Korea at the moment,
Yeah.
and you are the curator of the MMCK, which is the National Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art in Korea. You're also the associate curator for the Guangzhou Biennale. We want to hear definitely some more about that. And you've done a lot of work. I mean, I've read up on your bio. You've published a lot. You've curated a lot. More, definitely more on that later. Mesa is a dear friend, is also a senior project manager at the Guggenheim Abu Dhabi project. She's a member of their curatorial team. I mean, she's been such a staunch supporter of the UAE art scene from way back when. I know that you pursued a master's degree at the Sotheby's Institute. You there's a number of roles and curatorial positions that you have taken, many of which I admire, and I've been to your exhibitions, so thank you for that. Um, Maisa is also the mother of twins who are taking art classes at the moment, as I can see on Instagram, and then more more on that later. But for now, Juwan, I'd love to hear more about the opening of your museum.
Yeah.
Um, so please let us know. I mean, it's inevitable not to talk about COVID, but it is a fact and it is present. So can you tell us about how you've managed to open today?
So
I will
it was,
also, sorry, just share my screen
yeah.
with um, with you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's been very hard for us to manage the show and opening it again.
Mhm.
um, Actually, this show, which is called Looking for Another Family, it
Mhm.
is part of our museum's long-term project called Asia Focus.
Mhm.
And it is a series of group show with emerging artists who are based in Asia.
Mhm.
So I've been curating this exhibition since 2017. So this
Wow.
edition, yeah, this edition is a second edition.
Uh-huh.
So every 2 year we did this big group show. So actually this show is supposed to open this year April, but then the COVID situation in Korea
Mhm.
got really serious from February. So
Mhm.
actually none of artists could really travel to the
Yeah.
Korea to build the exhibition. And then I already commissioned a lot of projects, but then like we had to change all the plans. So anyway, like we could finally manage the opening the show in May. Then as you know, like there's a like big travel restrictions. So we were thinking of doing an online opening.
So this is
So
what we're looking at now.
yeah, yeah, this is the image. And then
Okay.
what I've done was I put a big screen in empty gallery, and then I invited all the artists on Zoom. So they were watching the show they couldn't visit the show, but then I took a camera and then like I give a tour for all the artists. So they could participate together from US, Philippines, Indonesia, Taiwan, China, Berlin. So like from all over the world. So it was really great for us that like at least we could have a chance to be together and then share the feelings of the opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is something very special and exceptional.
There's a lot of expression in this image that I'm seeing. If I'm looking at each and every person's face,
Yeah,
so many different emotions and so many different expressions.
right.
Wow.
So yeah, so it was very unique and also special moments for us.
Yeah.
And then another special experience for me was that because we didn't know how to deal with this, like because it was first time for us to facing like such a situation.
Right.
So somehow we had to we couldn't really manage shipping the artworks, and also construction of the gallery was very difficult. So for some times we were just staying in the empty gallery, and then like we did a like group conference call together and then sharing our own experiences. And like it was in the beginning, it was very simple that like, how is your life now, like wherever you're based in. Yeah, so it was a kind of moment that like all the artists really get together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was very special moments. And
Right.
if we go to the second slide, so now we are doing every events online. So actually this workshop is a drawing tutorial. So the visitor is supposed to make a reservation and then visit museum space, and then artists would teach how to draw certain type of drawings. But then we couldn't do, so what we have done is like today, like we make an appointment, and then everyone is sharing their own screen and then making drawings together.
I see.
So yeah, so now we are trying to find like alternatives, ways that like still we could work together and then feel and sharing our feelings together.
Yeah.
So this is what we are doing at the moment.
I see.
Yeah. And if we, yeah, okay.
Mesa, hopefully first and last COVID related question.
Yeah.
What was it like for you? I mean, how did COVID affect your programming and affect your profession?
Well, I have to say that, working on programming, you really need an audience. And throughout the project, we're not very active online. We don't have a digital presence. So for us, it was a huge shift from, putting on concerts or panel discussions to a completely different program, methodology. And so what we've just launched actually this week, and I have a little an image. We really decided to go local. The curatorial team have visited a number of resident artists that are in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And so we are really looking at the locale. We are very much including them. It's important to tell the story of the community that's in Abu Dhabi. They're Emirati and resident artists. So you have Meitha Abdallah and Hash Al-Lamki, who are the co-founders of Beit 15, which is, a community-run, artist-run community space alongside the founder Afra Dhahri. And also have resident artists Rand Abdel Jabbar and Nasr Zayani, who are also fantastic, who both were part of the Sheikh Salama Foundation program. And their studios are still so their practice is out of the Sheikh Salama studios, and because of the situation, the studios had to be closed down, and so our program was supposed to launch in 2 weeks ago, but we had to delay it. But it's up and running now. We're really going into the artist studio, looking at their practice, and the program will. So basically, it's a continuation. So every Tuesday, you'll get to view a video, and it will conclude with a panel discussion with two of our curators, Sarah bin Safwan and Sasha Coulter-Wasserman, that was on the Guggenheim Abu Dhabi project. So you'll get to know each artist, and then at the end, you'll really know more about the community and how their practice is in Abu Dhabi, and how it the Abu Dhabi applies to it.
Right. I want to ask you, we had a conversation before, a sort of debrief, sort of like get to know each other's practices, and I think we all agree that the youth is a challenging sector of our target. And I wanted to know from both of you, maybe we'll start with Juwon, how challenging do you feel it is, and what ways do you envisage you can try and reach them, beyond like what we already know? How do you imagine you can actually talk to them today and bring them into the cultural sphere? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. So maybe I can show my presentation to talk about this topic. Yeah.
Okay.
So, right.
1 second. Okay, here we go. Can you tell us about this image?
Yeah, so this is called platform that I always create aside of my exhibition. So this is where people can be really active to be part of the show. So it is some different side of the show that I always curate. When it comes to its format, everything should be very light and flexible. So nothing is really permanently installed, and it changes every day or every week, depends on the program. So for this platform, every furniture is modeled. So it can be changed, its outfit and fashion very easy and fast. Yeah. So it can react to the issues immediately and constantly. So the way I open such a space, a cold platform, is I really want to react to the young generations, because their issues are always changing. So when I want to follow up this with the exhibition, it is really hard for me. And then I always want to give them a lead to be part of the program. So when it comes to the platform program, I don't give any guideline. So it just runs by itself. So I just suggest the subjects to be discussed. And then for this format, there you can see there are a number of people visiting, and also the program runs by young artists in Korea. Yeah. Okay. So I just say like, okay, this is like this museum. We have a big space, and like we can invite you with these subjects. So we just lower the barrier to enter the museum as an artist, and also they always have their own platform to bringing their voices, and it is very effective to bring new young people inside the museum. So this is one of the strategy that I thought of. Yeah, so with that, we are not only bringing the young people, but mainly they are participating because they are very fast to react to the those kind of events. So if we move to the other slides, I can maybe explain you a bit more about this platform, how it functions. So as you can see, the models are changing.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so like they can use use them as like shelves or hangers or chairs or like cooking bar. So yeah, it is even the furniture is open to the person who wants to run the program. So yeah, this is one of the things that I always try to create aside to the exhibition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you, I mean, Mesa, did you, when you want to try and talk to the youth, do you, what do you try and keep in mind?
I mean, I mentioned this to you earlier. I think we come from a different generation, and the way we approach things is very different. And I have to say, I'm really lucky because our team has a lot of younger curators that are really with it. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm, you know, this is how I'm going to get to, you know, these artists, and this is how I'm going to get to the youth. And some of them have just graduated from university, so they're like, of course, this is what the students want. And I'm really blessed to have that. Have the youth within my team is what I'm trying to say. But just answering your question, Mirna, it's engagement is very difficult. It's very difficult, especially when you don't have a site. And for us, it's important to reach out to the audiences and to reach out to the youth and give them an understanding of what they are going to expect. We do this with a fantastic program, which is a university outreach program. And what we do is any public program that we do, we have a team that provide a detailed kind of program that's circulated to universities. They reach out to the professors. We have meetings with them. We give them a heads up and a head start 3-4 months before the program's even announced. So what they do, we get to the youth through their professors. So, so the professors look at the different curriculums that are available, or whatever courses are offering at that time. So, for example, we had the Hassan Hajjaj program last November. We reached 4 universities, and we had 100 students that came to the Cultural Foundation in Abu Dhabi and had a one-to-one session with him. You know, asked them questions. They were very engaged. And what we do is our education team and curatorial team provide all the information and the research to the professors ahead of time. So when they engage with their students, they say, you know, you will meet this artist. This is who this artist is. This is his practice. You know, they watch a documentary about him, look at some of his work. And so the students get excited. They're getting to meet, you know, the artist. They get to ask the questions. And I have to say, the questions that are asked are so intellectual and so advanced from you know, first and second year university students. They're really, really engaged. I also have to say that we did try the academic panels. We didn't have as many numbers. So it's all about trial and error. It's, you know, it's lessons learned. They, you know, I feel that they really want to engage with the producer, you know, with the artist.
But do you think, Mesa, that because Juan was saying this earlier, that their tastes and their interests are ever changing, okay? And I understand that perhaps the academic approach of, you know, a talk would not be so appealing to them. But do you think maybe it is because of Hassan Hajjaj himself? You know, I mean, I wonder if you pushed a conceptual artist, okay, would you have gotten the same feedback? Does it matter, or is it, you know, is it just meeting the producer?
No, I think no, I don't think it's because of Hassan Hajjaj himself. I mean, we did have a Sarah Morris university exchange program, and they got, for example, we gave them a premiere of the film. So it's those kind of you know offerings that you give them that nobody else has. You're
Exclusive stuff.
providing exclusivity and information that's ahead of time,
Yeah.
and so um, yeah.
I'm gonna throw something out there, and I want to see what both of you think. But I think the youth is the youth, regardless of whether they're in Korea or the Emirates.
Mhm.
You agree?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
Now whole world is connected through the internet, and if they want to connect to anywhere, then they can just do it. And somehow, like these days, I feel that they don't even need to speak in English, because like, for example, like TikTok application, like they just like play the same song and then do the same move, and then they can reunite it together through such actions and performances. So I think, yeah, youth are
So
always, yeah,
the future is not even language. We
yeah,
communicate through performance.
yeah.
You think so too, Maisa?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with Joan. You know, the communication has been very different, and it's online. I mean, even thinking about gaming. Gaming is another industry. It's a huge world. I have no idea about gaming.
You're not alone.
I have, and I honestly have no idea, but that is a huge segment of the youth. That's where they are. So it's whether it's TikTok or Instagram or gaming, you know, they are connected in different ways.
Okay, you both mentioned, you know, Juwon mentioned online, okay, and you know, you mentioned social media networks. You mentioned gaming. Um, you also mentioned earlier that you know, due to the COVID crisis, you're now moving. You know, that there's a digital transformation, and it looks like this is here to stay. Not only because we have a pandemic, but also because this is one way, or probably the best way, to reach the youth. Do you think that's ever going to take away from the joy, the complete utter joy of going into a museum?
I don't think so. I don't think it's going to replace it. Um, I mean, I'll give you an example. The Cultural Foundation has a children's library,
Yeah,
and
I'm going
preparing
to pull up that slide.
that slide. I mean, I'm preparing for the talk. You know, I asked my colleagues a number of questions, and I said, so how many children pre-COVID, how many children come to the library? And it was like
Mm.
1,000 a day to
What?
take out books. Yeah, I mean, and it's an institution. There's an exhibition space. There's a children's exhibition space. There's a library. There's a performing theater. Um, and you know, when you don't reach 800 to 1,000 you know, visitors, what do? You know, you have to offer these things online. And so the children's library has hundreds of books in both English and Arabic that are now online for free. That's also another thing. Most of the sites are you know, the Cultural Foundation is not ticketed. So, you know, it's accessible. It's accessible. A library is a different place than a museum, but
Mhm.
I don't think it's going to take away from, you know, seeing the, you know, physically being in a space.
But this way you talk to the parents, you don't talk to the kids.
Um, through
You
the
need to
digital.
talk to the, yeah, you need to talk to the parents to get to the kids.
Mhm.
You know, for them to know that there is a children's library, that they can go, they can borrow a book, they can, you know, read the book online.
Um, I mean, yes and no, because a lot of the schools have trips to museums and to the sites that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can, if you pull up the images before, I can tell you that the story of one of our exhibitions that we had put
Oh,
on.
yeah. I love this story, please.
So, we have an education department that are really fantastic. They have an interpretation section. They have a curriculum, and they're specialized in the youth, right? And so I was at this exhibition, and I was walking around, and I saw all these children with their hands on their shoulders walking into the exhibition space, and they do these little tutorials and walkthroughs and tours, and they ask them questions, and what do you see, and Mirna, we talk about this, like what color, what shape, how do you interpret art to a child that's 3 or 4 years old.
Yeah.
So it was the Creative Act exhibition, and I was
With
just
this.
and this with this large Anish Kapoor installation called My Red Homeland. And so these
Made
children,
of wax.
it's made of wax, and basically there's like a motor that moves. So these it's kind of builds and destructs at the same time. So while you're there, it's alive.
Yeah.
This artwork is alive in the gallery space. And so these children came out, and I was like, so did you enjoy the exhibition? Everyone was like, yes. And I said, your favorite artwork? He goes, me. And I said, what was your favorite? And he goes, the red volcano. And I was like, wow. They completely interpreted this work as, but they did see land, they did see landscape, they saw mountains, they saw, and then I asked, so what did you learn? And another child was like, me. And I said, what did you learn? And he goes, I learned that I can make art out of anything. And
wow,
for me, that was like this was like the highest moment of gratification I've ever come across from a 5-year-old child.
We need to follow this kid, Maisa.
No, I know. I have to find him. I'm gonna ask Rania from our education department. She'll probably know who, when. But I mean, honestly, I feel that a lot of times us as adults create these frameworks and create these boundaries and say what is and what isn't. And when you have children that come to exhibitions and see things for the first time or the second time, and every exhibition is different. One day you'll see a painting, you go to another exhibition, you'll see an installation, you'll see something made of wax, or you go to the Louvre Abu Dhabi and you'll see, porcelain, ancient objects, but then they realize it's not a square.
Yeah.
For them, they see whatever they want to see, and I think we have to keep that open for children and especially the younger youth to have this freedom of creativity and imagination because it exists.
Let me just another belated thank you for this exhibition. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I remember when the show actually opened, you looked so proud, and it was a challenge. I mean, I know just to install this piece it was quite the challenge. I think it came by ship, or it had some elaborate story. Juwon, do you have any stories you can share with us about how you felt that members of the youth, there was a direct impact to your shows or to any artworks at the museum?
So when it is about like how we call youth to the museum, I always think of like what can be the role of the museum, because I work for a public museum, not private. So maybe there's some kind of benefit that I can take, and also I can offer to the people. So like some of young artists, whenever I meet them, like I don't know if it is the same in Emirates or Abu Dhabi, but then there are a lot of young like artists. They are producing video work, not anymore paintings or sculpture or any physical mediums. So that was one of my questions, and then I seriously asked the artists like, why you're using video as a medium, because you're familiar with it. And then like his answer was like, because I don't have a space to paint or store my canvas. Like I don't afford such a big space. I'm not that rich. So I was like, yeah, so I have to move to my computer. So, but then in my computer, I can expand my work, how much, whatever. So that really hit me. And then I was thinking like how much space we can really offer to the artists and also to the people. And this is something very different. But I also have thought of why there are so many cafes in Korea. I don't know if it is also same there, but then like in Seoul, like every 10 meter, there is a cafe. Like, so I was wondering like if is Korean so crazy about like drinking coffee or tea? Like why there are so many cafes?
This is a global phenomenon.
Yeah, so I was like, why? Then I like one person told me actually, like besides cafe, like there is no place to sit, like there is no free space. Like if you want to talk to someone, or if you want to meet someone, then like you need to occupy a space, and then you just stay there. But then there's no park, like there's no free space. So we have to go to a cafe, pay for coffee. That is actually paying for the space. So that those kind of questions actually made me realize like what can we do as a public museum. We can like, because MMCA, I don't know, some of viewers have visited Seoul and visited MMCA, but then we have a lot of empty spaces. So I thought maybe just offering a free space to the young people, it can be a way that like we really call them. Like we don't need to ask them to do something. Like just like open up the space can be like one of the thing that we can really offer, and also we could get from them. Yeah.
I see. I see. When we spoke last, we also mentioned something about the youth being speed, the speed with which they do things, the speed with which they move from one thing to another. How would we keep up then, as curators and cultural protagonists? How, if something is always changing, how do you, keep them? How do you retain their attention?
Me, like on my phone, like there are like several applications that I don't even use. So whenever there is a new application come up, and I always try to look it up, because their platform is always moving. Like maybe Facebook was very popular before, but then now it's more like Snapchat or Instagram or TikTok. So like their base is always moving. So that I'm trying to catch up those kind of things. And also I'm trying to make conversation with as many people as many as I can afford. So through the conversation, actually, I get a lot of information. Yeah.
I see. Maisa, how can we keep their attention? How can we get them to focus on us a little bit?
I know that I know that DCT is providing a lot of programs that are kind of long term. So, for example, DCT has collaborated with the Abu Dhabi Education and I think it's Education and Knowledge. So basically, it's the Department of Education, and they've collaborated on a program called the Talent Development Program that was established in 2017. And what they do is they have an open call where any students can apply whether it's visual arts or performing arts. So they would come and perform to a jury, or do artwork, present their artworks to a jury, and then they get shortlisted and they become part of a long-term program. So what you do is you maintain the talent, and you make sure that throughout their career, throughout their school program, you see them develop and nurture, right? So I think in the past 3 years, there's been over 500 students enrolled. I mean,
Wow.
hard to remember. Um, I mean, and it's really fantastic. I'll send out a link, and maybe it's called the Talent Development Program.
Okay.
And there's an open call that's coming up in September. So for all the parents that have gifted and talented children, enroll them, because it's it keeps a momentum. They have their own community. They have peers. There's a bit of competition as well. So it's I think looking at programs that aren't just one-off, that have a continuation, is also a way to engage with them and to keep them focused.
I see. I'm going to share my screen and go back to some of your slides, because I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about the programming that you do. So
Yeah, this is a great.
yeah,
so,
what is this?
Okay, so we, at part of the exhibition, the Creative Act, we had Susan Hafuna, artist in the show,
Yeah.
and her work in our collection. And what she does is she does a lot of workshops with dancers and mentors them and curates an entire program. So
Oh,
we
okay.
we reached out to NYU AD, the New York University in Abu Dhabi. They have a student-run group, which is it's a dance group, but they happen to be all students from NYU. We invited them. We had an open call, and a lot of them applied. And again, this was a 2-month program. So Susan Hafuna flew to Abu Dhabi. We did performance. We did practice runs. We did workshops, and it was engaging with them, and they were so dedicated. They were so dedicated, and they wanted to be part of the show. And at the opening of the show, they performed within the gallery space. So it was a performance in the exhibition. So the image on the left is basically their workshops practicing with the artist. And the image on the right is them performing in one of the gallery spaces.
And where are these kids now? Do you maintain contact with them?
Yeah, I mean, we see them at all of our programs. They're our supporters. This is why we do it. You have your ambassadors without even, they become part of your community.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're graduates now.
And these books, these are the books that are available at the Children's Library.
So there are a lot of books that are available online, and the Children's Library will be also open to the public. It'll be open for parents to come in and borrow books for their children. But they also have great programs. Like, if you go to their, they have a YouTube channel. They post all these videos of storytelling, of arts and crafts, which usually they are the workshops. As like Joan mentioned, a lot of the workshops are hands-on. You invite the participants. They register online, or come to the site or the museum. So like we've been talking, it kind of forces you to go into this virtual world. Everybody's going into the digital, and we wanted to make sure that the offerings are still there, especially over the summer. School's out. Homeschooling is that drove all the parents, up the wall.
Get me started. I totally hear what you're saying, and the many wonderful benefits. But every time I hear something saying you can access it on YouTube, or it's part of the virtual world, or You know, it's online. You can read the book online, or, you know, anything that's related to putting my child in front of a screen makes me cringe.
Mhm.
What do I do?
Actually, some of them are tutorials, so you just watch it for a minute and then you do the practical. So you have to bring your own, equipment or your own, things, materials.
Yeah,
I think it's temporary. So,
you do.
I think it's temporary. Yeah, of course. I think soon we're all gonna go back to these sites. We everybody wants to hold on to tangible things.
Is that you and me and Juwan that want to go back to the museum? I mean, do you think museums are relevant to the youth today? Do you think they still need to go and access, or are they okay with just seeing something online or creating videos?
Yeah, I mean, I'll let Joan speak. The only thing I'd say is I think, um, a lot of things need the physical. You need to immerse yourself, and it's not always on a screen. That
Yeah.
there's no experience.
Yeah.
Um, so I truly believe that it's a temporary
I,
thing.
I believe you, and I completely agree with what you're saying. But I wonder, is today's youth okay with not going to see a museum, and how can we as museums stay relevant in their lives? Juwan?
Actually, yeah, actually, as I mentioned before about like how we could prepare the exhibition during COVID-19. And then like we did an online exhibition opening. We also launched the VR gallery. So people actually can visit the gallery virtually, and then they can see all the videos from their home. And also I've done, I thought like in the beginning, I thought maybe it is fantastic because VR gallery, I can invite more audiences,
Yeah,
because as I just launched the link,
yeah,
even people from Abu Dhabi, they cannot visit Korea, but then they can see my show. So I thought,
absolutely.
yeah, so I thought like maybe it is great, like I can have more visitors
Yeah.
and exposure. But then, like in the end of the virtual gallery, everyone is commenting that like, oh, I saw, now I'm more eager to visit the space.
Ah. Do you think the virtual can actually serve as a teaser?
Yeah, like it can motivate them, but then it cannot fully satisfy them. So
Mm.
I totally agreed what Maisa said, that this thing, it can be just temporary, cannot replace everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on one more thing, one more aspect.
Mirna, maybe we should ask you to share your experiences. I mean, this
Huh?
is something that I always as part of your your visits to museums and galleries, and how you take your daughter with you. And I always I always enjoy hearing the questions she asks you, or you know even her point of view. She has an opinion, of course.
Yeah, oh yes. Oh
So,
yes.
so why don't you tell us something that you've
Thank,
experienced?
thank you, Maisa. I actually was going to ask you that question in a bit, because you have two who are the same age. God bless them. Um, okay, it for me, it started off with really two very basic things. First of all, I didn't have time. So I didn't have time to be a mom and to work and to see, all the exhibitions that I wanted to see. So I had to bring her with me. It's not that I had to, I wanted her to come along. And the second thing is, I really believe in seeing, and I didn't want to give her some of the experiences that we had as children, because God bless my parents, they were awesome, but they just didn't package the museum visit in a very exciting or delightful way. And like, granted, maybe maybe they were just more slanted towards the classical or the antiquity, which is kind of, boring for a 7-year-old or, whatever. But still, we went annoyed. So I think the second reason was, how was I going to tell Noor about herself? I thought that the way that she could learn about herself and learn about others is to see art. And what I also do is I ask her. I ask her and I get amazing responses. I actually, I'll show you a few images. And I will try and, oops, okay. So she was a little bit young over here, and we went to see the Muhammad Qazim show at Gallery Isabel van den Einde in Dubai. She went round and round the exhibition, but she kept looking at that particular artwork. And I she was too young to sort of express, herself. But I recently asked her, actually, when I was working on this, and she said, well, Mama, it's clear that's me and you and Daddy, because there's 3 people inside. Anyway, but I mean, I wasn't going to argue with her and tell her there's 3 people in other ones as well. She saw the 3 of us there, so okay, fine. This is at the Anthony Gormley show at the RA in December in London, and she walked in and just felt compelled to draw. So she would not stop. She just wanted me to get her a piece of paper and a pen, and she wanted to draw what she was saying. In the same trip, we took her to the Olafur Eliasson show, which I think, whether you are 4 or whether you are 80, okay, that show is thoroughly entertaining. So you were saying earlier, Maisa, that maybe they enjoy being, with producers, and you had like the volcano of Anish Kapoor. Maybe that's exciting. I wonder if we put on an exhibition for modern Arab art, would we get the same reaction?
Yeah, I mean, this is
there's a pressure on our artists to create work that is, visually striking. Maybe new media is exciting for the youth.
Yeah, definitely new media and technology definitely is something that's it's more immersive, and like you said, you went to the show. If whether you're 4 or 80, that's a show that you can't do virtually, and there's no experience in looking at, going to the Tate and going through these galleries if you're doing it virtually and on a screen. Yeah.
So what are you planning on doing
with
the twins? I see them drawing and painting on Instagram, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, they love it. I think it also helps that there's a lot of art in the home, so they're constantly looking at things around, whether it's a sculpture or it's a painting or it's a light box. They still, it becomes relevant to them. They know that this is something that's in our home and we look at it every day. I mean, it helps now because we can't really go to many sites and exhibitions, but they just love it. They just love color and they love drawing, creating all these shapes.
And how would you do it, from here on, as a mom?
I mean, I definitely take them to art workshops and activities. When you go to museums, there are these drop-in sessions that you have. You go to the Louvre Abu Dhabi, they have a children's museum where everything is kind of to their scale, touch screen. They get to realize, what this is. I mean, definitely take them out and let them see more.
Juwan, what about you? What's your 2 cents on starting the nurturing process?
Unfortunately, I don't have my daughter, so I can talk about her. But maybe I can tell you some kind of cases that I've seen in the museum.
Yeah.
That so when people enter the exhibition, like there are a lot of signs, like no photograph, no video, no chat. So, but I thought like those kind of signs are really like making distance between the visitors and the artworks. So for my show, I'm trying to reduce or remove all these signs and just let everyone to take a photo and the video, or they can even talk. Like, then but before, I always ask artists if they could give such a copy, right? During the exhibition only. Then I found very funny videos on YouTube, because I always search my exhibition on Instagram and YouTube. And then some group of students start reviewing my exhibition online. So they bring camera, and then they take exhibition, and then they gather together and talk about the show, like about design, about curatorial concept, about the artist. So they are not professional, or they are learning, but then they are free to expose their opinions by making their own video, reacting immediately in that. So I think giving like freedom to the people, and then trying to make them motivated is also one of the way that like we can really bring them inside the museum. Yeah.
My last question to both of you, and you guys can decide who wants to go first. I hope you thought about it, because I did ask you before. What would you tell your younger self about your responsibility or commitment towards the arts? Wow. You didn't think about it, did you?
I mean, I think maybe I would say I wish I had paid more attention to all the visits to the museums that I was taken to when I was 2, 3, 4, 5. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not gonna say how old I am now, but I still have flashbacks, and I hope I wish I had paid more attention and appreciated what my parents gave me. They gave me a
Why?
culture. They gave me a culture to love culture, right?
Hmm. But you did.
I did, but I wish I did more. We didn't, like, for example, we did go to a lot of museums, and my experience is very much tied to the visual arts, and not so much with music. But now I love music, and with the Abu Dhabi Classics, I try as much as I can to go and attend, all the different orchestras that come in. I mean, some of these orchestras that come and perform here in Abu Dhabi, there are waiting lists to see them.
Yeah, yeah,
And so for me, I wish I had paid more attention to music when I was much younger.
yeah. Maisa, just to quickly interject. Um, I think that we are in such a privileged position today, when I think about my childhood here, and the culture offering that this country is providing. It's leaps and bounds, the richness of it, the diversity of it. So the fact that it's accessible, I think it makes such a big difference.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
Juan,
Mhm.
what would you tell your younger self?
I'll say study more on philosophy or
Mm-hmm.
history. That's because later I realized that actually art is different way of singing, like different way of taking perspectives.
Yeah.
So to expand my perspectives, I would tell myself read more philosophical books and learn more history. Yeah, so that I can actually, when I have a motivation or when I have any kind of input, then I can react further. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much, ladies. You've given me, and I'm sure the audience, a lot of food for thought. Um, we still have so much more to do, COVID, included. But it was lovely to talk to you, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for invitation.
Thanks again. Thank you again. And thank you to the Ministry of Culture and Youth for organizing this. And there's a whole series of talks for the summer camp, which you can watch on the YouTube channel. Super. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Bye.